Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We talking UFC 284, Makhachev versus Volkanovski. And before we get into it, as always, go down and like and comment on this video. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Every subscriber matters. And this is your host for the show. I'm Paul Pick'em Win'em Concha, aka the Controversy, aka the sports gambler. I am joined with.
Hey man, call me the man formerly known as Kev Waterboy, boy. This week I'm Kev Dean in this motherfucker. We gonna make sure my boy get the win this week. Even if I gotta do it my damn so. This fight could be in Russia, I'll still fix this motherfucker.
Man, I've been trying to tell people, like, you don't see pound for pound goats, pound for pound greats going against each other like this in Makhachev versus Volkanovski. I've seen people trying to say if Volkanovski wins this fight, fuck everything you hear. He's already top 3 of all time. So like I don't know where you already rank him. I don't know, but I'm definitely like he's already a great. Islam to me is already great. 23-1 versus 25-0. And I'm not trying to discount the co-main event, which is Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. I don't know if the interim title is really on the line. I think it is. Yes, it is for sure. I'm positive. The featherweight interim title is on the line. And the only reason why I thought it probably was because these are literally the top 2 featherweights right now. But to be honest, like Josh Emmett, 18-2, Yair Rodriguez, 16-3. Rodriguez coming off the win against Brian Ortega, where Ortega popped his arm out in the first round. The fight was over. Josh Emmett winning a split decision over Calvin Kattar, which me and Kevin both agreed Calvin Kattar won. So this is one of the weirdest featherweight interim titles we've ever seen. But we'll get into that more on. So let's just get into it, Kev. This is 284, Makhachev versus Volkanovski. I'm going to throw it to you. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear? Because I'm not going to lie, this is not the deepest card. Usually the cards are super deep for pay-per-view. This is the first card where I'm looking at it like, yo, this is definitely a top-heavy card. Like, outside of the top 2 fighters, like, if you are just a UFC casual, you do not know who these motherfuckers are. Jimmy Crute, Tyson Pedro, Taburo, Jamie Malarkey. Like, who the fuck are these people? Like, you're not buying this card for them.
No, I respect it to the fullest. I mean, I definitely, being a casual myself, I definitely don't ever know what's going on. So like I just know that like these are a lot of people I've seen lose. Like Rob Font, I've seen him lose a couple times. Like
yeah,
Josh Emmett,
don't be hating on Rob Font.
Josh Emmett, I thought he lost last time I seen him fight. Even though everybody loves him for some reason.
Randy Brown against Jack Della Medina. Like, Jack Della Medina is like a next great prospect, but Randy Brown, like, we love him, but like he always fights on like the prelims for like a big card.
Yeah. So I mean, this card goes either I'm gonna watch the whole thing, but Australia's beautiful. Like I will give them this. The countdown sold me on taking a trip to Australia. I will say that. Taking a trip to Australia and training in Thailand. Because the countdown, the promo sucks. Like I've seen nothing but slap shit. If I want to slap
Dana
shit,
White, bro. That's Dana White's fucking. He tried to tell you that's the best promotion.
That's good promotion. I mean, I guess. But yeah, everybody's upset about it. Islam, me, you, Dan Hardy, everybody's mad.
Don't speak for me. I love the slap fighting. I was bred in the slap fighting where y'all learned slap fighting. I was born in slap fighting.
Well, I couldn't even pay you to watch the tough season last season. I know you're not watching the slap fights.
Fuck no, bro. And the fact that it's on TBS, I'm like, this is the most family-oriented channel, and y'all want to sell the probably argument. Like, the biggest thing about boxing and UFC is at least they're allowed to defend themselves. Now you're pushing a promotion where the person that gets hit is not allowed to defend themselves from like a alterating damage to their face. No, it's on TBS, like the fucking the family channel of all family channels.
And it looks crazy, the promo right now, especially since Dana White just had the thing where he slapped his wife. So I was like, that just doesn't look good.
The greatest promo of all time, bro.
Maybe that's
You
why
want to get slap fighting off? You want to get that shit to the moon? Sometimes you gotta slap fight with your wife.
God damn. But hey, man, it'd be like that. No, it
Hey,
don't. But
hey, she got the first slap in. So like it's not like it wasn't like a she got one and he didn't like. Hey, it was 1 for 1. It was 1 for 1.
I'm crying.
And
But look,
that's the rules of slap fighting.
there you go. But look, right. So when we get into this co-main, right, I look at it like this. Somebody brought up a really it was Ariel wanted he had asked votes. He said, "Yo, if Yair beats Emmett or Emmett beats Yair, but Arnold Allen and Max Holloway just got announced. So if
Yep.
Arnold Allen, which everybody loves, if Arnold Allen beats Max Holloway, but Yair Rodriguez and Josh Emmett are fighting for the interim title, the next title shot's gonna go to them. But like, what's a bigger wait, well, let me finish. What's a bigger motherfucking what's a bigger fight win? Beating a Josh Emmett or beating a Yair Rodriguez or beating a Max Holloway?
And to me, I think that's the beautiful thing about UFC. Like, yeah, it's ugly. Yeah, it gets political. Yeah, but that's the big thing about who fights who next out of this. All comes down to two things, and that's what makes UFC outside of boxing and other sporting events where you already know what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to one: does Volkanovski get beat? Like if Volkanovski gets beat, and not only does he get beat, but he can be bad, and it's like an injury, like he might have like his shoulder popped out or something. Then,
Mm-hmm.
if that happens, we are gonna get the winner of Yair versus Emmett, and we're gonna get versus the winner of Holloway versus Arnold Allen. Because then there'll be like some time in between the title shots because Volkanovski may be hurt. It all depends on how bad Volkanovski gets bad. Like, does he get beat? Does he win? Because if he wins, now we're in a different scenario altogether. But if he gets beat and he gets beat bad, then we're sitting here like, okay, we may be out for 6 months. Now we may have to like. Then we get all those fights that we're talking about. But if Volkanovski wins, or if he loses and he doesn't get a bad injury, or not even a bad injury, but if he loses and it's just like and he's able to fight in the next 2 3 months, I think it's almost gonna go domino effect. We'll get the winner of Yair versus Emmett first, and then after that, because I think if Volkanovski wins, he's double champ. I think he's not gonna fight at 155 for real. I think he just wins it, holds it for a couple months, and then he relinquishes it. He's just like, all right, like I'm not gonna defend that other belt. That's not my natural weight class, so I'm gonna let it go.
I
And
don't know.
I mean, there is arguments otherwise, but I just can't see him trying to because think about it. Now you're not only are you having to fight the best of your weight class, but you're having to fight the best of that weight class, and you're having to do it double time because you can't hold up because Volkanovski is not somebody to hold up a weight class. Volkanovski is a real motherfucker. And Volkanovski is gonna probably like if he fights like let's say he fights I'm making up names here. But let's say he fights Max Holloway in 2 months from now. That's literally he fights Islam Makhachev, the best at light heavyweight, and then 2 months from now he fights Max Holloway, and then the other weight class has already moved on from there, and so now we're moving. Now we're on to Oliveira, Gaethje, Chandler, Connor. Like we're on to the next names. So now there's only 2 months in between there. Now he has to defend that belt against the next person in that weight class. And while that's happening, now he has to go on and fight and defend the next best person at the other weight class. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think he defends that belt because he might just relinquish it because like now instead of fighting 2 times a year as a champ, which is already a great amount because other champs are fighting 1 time a year, he might have to fight 4 to 5 times a year because he has to defend both belts. Like both weight classes will be moving on just as much. Maybe Dana gives him the benefit of the doubt and only makes him defend each belt once, and that's only to me. That's the benefit to the champ, but to the detriment of us as fans, because now we only see this weight move on one time a year. Like that's why we hate light heavyweight. That's why we hate middleweight, because Izzy and them and the light heavyweight at the time before now, it was like, oh, this weight class doesn't move on except for one fight a year. And if Volkanovski has become double champ and Dana White gives him that benefit of the doubt of like, oh, well, you don't have to defend the belt. Don't worry about it. We'll just make sure you only fight one belt a year. Now we're sitting here like, yo, that's another two whole weight classes that only fight one time a year. And so I'm speaking as a fan on like what I hope the UFC does. So I just can't see Volkanovski holding both belts if he wins, holding both belts and defending both of them at the same time, because that's 6 title fights a year, almost 5 title fights a year. And both weight classes, I'm not gonna say are deep, because Max Holloway definitely runs the other weight class, featherweight, outside of Volkanovski. Like, hey, you think you're good shit until you run into Max Holloway, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, Max Holloway is a whole universe away from me, and then you realize Volkanovski is a whole universe away from Max Holloway. So then it's just like, holy shit, like that's a big jump. Lightweight is a different whole weapon, because all these motherfuckers are a whole 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds bigger than you. You may think you are able to hold off the Brian Ortega jiu-jitsu. You may think you're able to hold off the wrestling until somebody weighs 20 more pounds than you. As Kevin, as my witness, you know how much 20 pounds matters. Because these are you all weigh the same when you weigh in. Yeah, when you're cutting weight, but the moment you put weight back on, you could be 30 more pounds than the other guy, because the other guy might be in his natural weight class and you are in the fucking two weight classes below yourself.
That rehydration is a motherfucker. That's why you love weighing in the day before.
Yeah, so like Kev knows, like, yeah, like that, but I'm getting a little off track here. We're spending more time on just like specifics and more analytics of things, but like Volkanovski, I don't think he's gonna double defend. I think it will only if he wins his belt, and if he does win the belt, he will. I do put him in the top tier of the greats, 25-1, and his one loss is one of his first fights in the UFC, not UFC, but there's MMA in general. We see that in boxing all the time, where the first fights of great prospects, if one of their losses comes super early. Lomachenko, his first loss was in his second fight ever, and it was a title fight, and the person blows the whole fight. So like shit like that happened. So let's just get into the fight, Kev. I'm gonna throw it to you. Islam versus Volkanovski. Next fight we're gonna talk is Yair versus Josh Emmett. We're not gonna skip over anything, but I just think this is a top-heavy card. Let's just get into the top. Let's get into what weighs the most. But Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev. You got the belt, light heavyweight title on the line. Where are you leaning? Why are you leaning it? How do you think this fight's gonna go? And if you don't see, even if you don't think the fight's gonna go that way, how do you see this fight going? And what are some other ways you see this fight going?
So first off, I think it's crazy. So I saw the interview on DC and RC with Islam and Volk, and it was just the demeanor, I think, is the difference. So Islam is treating this like, yo, I'm bigger than you, little nigga. And like he's not calling him a little nigga. He's like, I respect him. I think he's good. I know he's a great fighter. At the same time, so he's not dissing him like he was doing Charles Oliveira. Like,
my question is he? So you already kind of answered it, but is he treating him how he treated Oliveira, or is he treating him worse than Oliveira, or even is he giving him more respect than Oliveira? Because I did see the interview.
I think the thing about Islam is that, like,
because my opinion is maybe he treats everyone like this. And if he's treating everyone the same, that means he gives everyone the same amount of respect. And if he's giving everyone the same amount of respect, he's giving everyone the same amount of training camp, the same amount of like, I'm gonna come in with the same mentality as always. But if he's giving him a little bit less respect than Oliveira, then it's like, hold up, are you overlooking Volkanovski?
Nah, I look at it like this. He's looking at him as a jit. Like he's looking at him like, yo, you're small. Like when he came in the ring after Abu Dhabi, he said, "We're short. Tell the short guy come in the ring." But like he's looking at him like first off they brought up that how there's they don't have an Australian wrestling team. I was like that was disrespectful, but he was like
Islam's a big light heavyweight though. Some people think he could honestly win the welterweight title right now because Usman doesn't have the belt. But people are saying like Islam is a big lightweight. Like he doesn't come in at 155. He has to cut weight to 155. And when he comes into fight night, he's coming in usually at 170, 175. So like
def-
he's that's why Volkanovski. Some people think like, oh, Volkanovski's a big featherweight. Like he used to be a rugby player. But my personal opinion on it is just like, yeah, but that was when he was like rugby shape. Now when you're in UFC shape, Kev, you know what's the difference between like normal football shape versus wrestling shape is like I gotta cut weight. Like I gotta make my weight. And
and
like
one of them you cut weight, the other one you lift weights.
yeah, so like Volkanovski, like yeah, he may be big for his weight class, but he's not gonna be big for somebody who's big for a weight class already above you. So, but I'm gonna give it back to you, Kev. Finish what you're saying, but like that, I hear that a lot in the Twitter sphere. Twitter sphere is going heavy, like, oh, Volkanovski's a big featherweight. Y'all think Islam's gonna be a big lightweight? Wait till Volkanovski's rugby shape comes in. And I'm like, rugby shape is not the same as UFC MMA shape, and Islam
Yeah,
comes in big as fuck for lightweight.
you got you got to be able to go 25 minutes in the UFC. So you always got to be in UFC shape. You can't go 25 minutes, you're fucked.
But do you think
So
do you think weight's gonna be a big? I'm gonna throw that to you as a question. Do you think that weight's gonna be a big difference here as Islam, who's already a big lightweight, but Volkanovski is a rugby player who has been bigger in his past days. He has been like a 250 rugby player. Do you think weight's actually gonna be an issue, or do you think UFC/MMA weight actually means a difference?
I don't think it's gonna be about weight. It's gonna be about strength. So like you can be stronger than a motherfucker. Like you can be bigger than a motherfucker, but not stronger than them. So Volk is bulking his ass off. Like Volk is doing his thing. He's eating steaks. He's doing what he got to do. But I think Islam has so their sizes are going to be very similar. They're going to be close. But Islam is a
Great.
motherfucking yeah. Islam's a Dagestani monster. You feel me? So like he's strong as fuck, and that's going to be his biggest strength. Because if you were to take Volk down, can you? Because Volk isn't practicing takedown defense. He's practicing how to get the fuck up out of a fucking take after getting taken down.
Oh,
Like
great point, Kev. Great. That's a beautiful point.
so, motherfucking. That's where it's gonna come in. Like, is that strength gonna be able to keep him down? Can you make him hold your strength? Can when he tries to move? Because his strongest weapon is that he'll get on top, and then now you start squirming. You don't know what to do anymore. I mean, Oliveira didn't squirm or nothing crazy like that, but you don't know what to do. He's just making small moves because he's strong as fuck.
My question is if we see because like Oliveira didn't get into that position till the second round, so we see Volkanovski in the second round get all of a sudden get taken down and like a swift movement and like triangle set up type shit. Do you
Mm.
expect Volkanovski to get out? Because like we see Brian Ortega at featherweight is by far the most polished, best featherweight BJJ practicer there is at a championship level. Volkanovski fought through two of them. Two of them. If Islam gets something similar at the first time, do you expect Volkanovski to get out of it?
Oh, nah.
Once
That's
Islam gets it, is locked in, loaded, time to call a fight.
because we got to remember that Charles Oliveira is probably the best BJJ is like at the moment, like probably the best we've
Definitely.
seen. But like the best we've seen all around polished, disciplined, and well. And when he got in it tight, oh my goodness, you were stuck. But here's my thing though. But I don't is Oliveira got dropped. Like he didn't get dropped, like he didn't get like stunned, knocked out, nothing. But he got punched to the floor, and then he went to the floor. He was like, okay,
So yeah, he got dropped, and I will agree with that. Do you remember when that happened? It was about 3.5, 4 years ago. Do you remember when we were live with Romeo Mack for the Oliveira versus Islam fight? And I said before the fight happened, Islam's gonna win this fight. It's gonna be on the ground. He's gonna manhandle the ground where people think Oliveira is gonna have the specialty on submission. Islam Sambos is a different. It's like wrestling, but wrestling on steroids. Where like the reason why I think Sambo beats BJJ is because Sambo they're a wrist specialty thing. While they're holding your wrist hostage on one hand, their other hand is finding the best practical means of getting this fight over. Whether that mean to get into a dominant position, whether that mean to grab your hips, grab your legs to take you down, whether that mean once you're on the ground and use that other hand to get into side control, like to get on, like they're when you watch Sambo fighters, they're not beating you on some crazy submission, some crazy. They're just getting to the most dominant position that holds you down and you can't do anything about it. And while you're there, now I'm going to dominate you into some submission. It's never some crazy, oh, you're beating me, and all of a sudden now I got you in an armbar. Or, oh, you're beating me, and now I got you into a headlock. No, it's literally, I'm dominating you all around. So, Volkanovski and Islam, I don't expect it to be happening that way, but Volkanovski could definitely. I don't want to say undermining him because like Volkanovski's a great champ on his own, but like Islam could definitely be in this fight. And we saw with Oliveira when I was telling you, Oliveira, we were waiting for the Islam to take him down. But what happened all that fight? Islam was winning the exchanges on the feet. That was the big difference to me. Was Oliveira, we were waiting for Oliveira, like, okay, once we take it down, we're gonna sit here and fucking literally diagnose and act like we're BJJ specialists. And we'll sit here and be like, okay, who won the ground fight? But Islam was winning the on the feet fight, and that only makes me respect Islam's ground fighting even more because Oliveira was whooping Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler's ass on the feet before he started dominating them on the ground. The reason why Islam was winning the feet fight to me is because of the fact that like I think Oliveira knew if it went to the ground he's gonna lose, and he had to respect Islam's ground game. So that's why it allowed openings on the feet because he was expecting him to shoot a takedown, expecting him to do something else other than throw hooks, throw jabs, all that stuff. So Volkanovski's the same boat to me. Volkanovski's ground game is nowhere near. Yes, you can argue, oh, his takedown defense is better than Oliveira's. His takedown defense may be better than Ortega's, but his takedown offense for Islam. Imagine being somebody and Kev, you can, because Kev is a high school wrestler. He got recruited to go to college wrestling. Kev is a college wrestler on resume. If you are somebody who shoots takedowns, Kev, and imagine you're someone who shoots takedowns on the offensive side of things, and the person you go against, yes, he has good takedown defense. He doesn't get takedown a lot, but he doesn't have great offensive wrestling. He's not going to get you into a submission. He's not going to get you into a position where you don't want to be. Imagine being Islam Makhachev and you could shoot takedowns on somebody who could, yes, arguably block all your takedowns, 95% of all your takedowns. But are you as Islam or Charles Oliveira or any of these great BJJ Sambo people, are you worried of Volkanovski to submit you? Are you worried of Volkanovski to get you in a position that you don't want to be in? That's my thing with Islam. Is like he could shoot 150 takedowns and miss 149 of them. All he needs is one to get you, and it's over with. He is not worried about Volkanovski to reverse you on one of these takedowns and get you to it. Because this is similar to like a Sean Strickland versus somebody who can take you down. Like if Volkanovski reverses you and you're in a position where you're losing, Volkanovski's best bet is to get off of you. Because if Volkanovski stays in that position, Islam's going to reverse him and get on top. Or, like, when it comes to technique, when somebody's just way better of a wrestler than you. That's what my whole thing with Volkanovski versus him is. It's like, yeah, Islam may not be better striking, but like this is a 25-minute fight, and there's no way that he's a better fighter than Islam. And if Volkanovski beats him, it stuffs a takedown in the third round and is sitting on top of him. And if he sits 30 seconds too long, Islam's gonna reverse him and take his back. And the moment he takes his back, now we're sitting here like, oh, what's gonna happen? That's my whole thing with this whole fight. It's like there is no point where Volkanovski stuffs a takedown, and I'm worried about Islam because he could stuff every single takedown, but is Volkanovski have the discipline to not follow up on the stuff? Because the moment he tries to follow up and sits on top of Islam, now he's opened himself up to a reversal. Now he's opened himself up to something else. That's what my whole thing is on this whole fight. It's like, yeah, there is points where I can see Volkanovski beating Islam, but this is a real fight. And Islam is 100% takedown, 100% submission, 100% getting top control. And there's no way I can see Volkanovski stuffing all of them and being in every great position after stuffing them to stop any reversal, stop anything like that. So like that's my whole thing with this fight. Give me Islam, even if it's minus 410. I don't give a fuck. That's free money to me. Like Islam is by far, if Islam, Habib, and their cousin Usman, Nurmagomedov all find the UFC right now, the top 3 pound for pound would be with Habib, Islam, and Usman Nurmagomedov.
I respect it. I mean, I think it takes very valid, but I look at this fight as Islam's very dangerous, but I like Volk on the feet, like up top. I like him on the feet, and I think this fight is gonna go to the deep waters. And then I think
if this was Volk versus Oliveira, do you think Volk has especially Oliveira's run beating Gaethje and Dustin Poirier on the feet? Because remember where you were when Oliveira had won the title. If we're talking Oliveira versus Volkanovski on the feet, are you still thinking Volkanovski wins on the feet? Single-handedly almost. Just because Oliveira was KO, like Gaethje was a highlight reel. Poirier is probably arguably the best boxing in MMA. And we were sitting here like, yo, he just single-handedly like elbowed them motherfuckers to oblivion.
I think you and me have 2 different views on Volk. Because I think Volk is really the pound for pound number 1. Like, I think some things happened. The reason why people like kind of sleeping on this fight is because things had to happen. Like Izzy has to lose, Usman has to lose, and that's why like I really like Volkanovski is really my second favorite fighter. Like just to listen to you.
I knew you put on this ref outfit was gonna mean something.
I was listening to you and I was like, he's really just coming at Volk. Like there's nothing.
I'm not coming at Volk. See, that's my thing. People think he's coming at their team. People will really be
coming at Volk.
About their team, about their fight. I'm like, I am just analytically breaking down like, can Volkanovski really defend the takedowns for 25 minutes? That's my whole thought on the opinion. Can Volkanovski stuff takedown? Yes. He is probably the best stuff takedown, pound for pound, championship tier kind of guy there is. But Islam's a different kind of beast when it comes to stuffing takedown. And on top of it, it's a 25-minute fight where Volkanovski can stuff 4 or 5 of them, but that 5th one that he don't stuff, now we're sitting here talking a different ballgame. But I see you in my ref outfit. I see you rocking the stripes. I see you, my guy. So I can understand you are 100% against me right now because the refs are 100% always against me in my bet.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be out there in Australia. I just got my ticket. I'm actually zipping in a second, pack my bags.
Make your Make your pick, Kev. I'm gonna lead it off. Make your pick. How they gonna win it? Why they're gonna win it? And shut the fuck up, everybody else.
So I'm taking Volt all day, every day, twice on Sunday,
Plus three
and that's
twenty. Plus 320 on the odds money line, straight up.
tease it to a pick 'em. Fuck it, I'm not tripping. Like what you mean? But give me an extra five. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like what the fuck? But I like Volt because I think this is where this fight. If it comes down to can you stop the takedowns? Can you stop him? Can you do this? Can you do that? But we're forgetting that Volt can adapt. Volt can really sit down and figure things out. The longer you're in the fight, the more dangerous it's for Islam. And I don't think nobody recognizes that. I think
No
everybody,
Habib in his corner.
yeah, like I mean, I don't think that really means as much as it sounds like. I think that's a big deal, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Like I think he's a tough motherfucker, and they understand completely. I want to know why. I don't think they dropped why everything dropped like that, but I really like Volk in this fight. I think Volk has a lot of grit. I think he understands that he's being counted out, and I think like I'm also the same person that would pick Shevchenko to beat Nunez like every time, even though she gets fucked up. Like I'm taking the underdog in this one. Like I really like Volk to just sit down and just trying to just figure things out. He takes it, he figures out the pace, he controls the pace, he figures things out. Because this is gonna be a I don't think Islam is really coming in with the mindset to you have to think in this fight. I think he's coming in like, yo, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. And if I'm not killing him, I'm gonna kill him. Like Volk's really coming in this bitch like, yo, he can low key demolish me 5 different ways at any point in time. So I gotta be not only on my guard, but I gotta make him uncomfortable some way, somehow. And I'm gonna figure it out. And once I figure I'm gonna do it before halfway through the third. Because that's when it's money time.
All right. So Kev, you're rocking with Volkanovski. My
Big Volk, all Volky, yeah. Pound for pound king, yeah.
all right. So you already know my pick. Rocking with
Yeah,
Volkanovski himself, Alexander the Great. I can't even say that shit with a straight face.
I think that is disrespect. You did not just diss my dog for fucking
I just dissed him straight to the
You
face.
talk, you talk, you talk about can he stop the takedowns? Can he handle being dissed for 25 minutes?
Hey, bro, Islam's not just the biggest religion in the world; it's also the baddest motherfucker in the world. Give me Islam Makhachev.
I respect it. I respect it. But hey, man, let's talk Yair Rodriguez, Josh Emmett, and then we still got to talk one more thing before we go.
All right, Yair minus 165, Josh Emmett plus 140. This is
Yair Cassie.
Pick'em. This is the interim title for the featherweight. Volkanovski better look behind him after this. That's also another thing we didn't take into account for this fight. It was like Volkanovski's literally gonna watch the interim fight happen before him and worry about that guy before the fight with Islam. So
you don't know Volk. Every time I hear this, you don't know Volk. Like you ain't see him cussing out the camera after beating Max Holloway. Like yeah, and then
right, Yair Rodriguez coming off of his Brian Ortega blown shoulder TKO, and Josh Emmett coming over a split decision over Calvin Kattar, where a lot of people, including me and Kev ourselves, thought Calvin Kattar won that fight, but Josh Emmett did put up I did rewatch that fight very recent. I actually watched that fight yesterday. That fight was a lot closer. Now that I know Josh Emmett won the fight and rewatching it, the fight's not as one-sided as I thought it was. But a really good fight nonetheless. We got Emmett versus Yair Rodriguez, and I'm kind of rocking with Emmett here. And the one reason why I'm rocking with him is I think Yair Rodriguez has got here, not I want to say unscathed, but he's just kind of got here without having, like, he had Ortega without his shoulder. And I think Emmett's going to land the punches on him. We saw when Giga fought Calvin Kattar. When Giga, a known kickboxer, great kickboxer, and is going to take the whole weight class by storm type shit, Calvin Kattar, a boxer, showed him like, yo, MMA boxing is a different thing. Completely. And I just think something similar is going to happen with Yair versus Emmett. So I think Emmett as an underdog. I like it here. I just think Yair hasn't gotten hit, and when Emmett lands his fucking heavy hands on him, and he kind of owns everything, Yair is gonna be kind of spooked away from that fight. Like he's not gonna want to get in there and trade with somebody as heavy-handed as Emmett, because like kickboxers are more finesse, whereas Emmett's more power. And when Emmett dominates the power on the inside, we're gonna see a different fight. So give me Emmett here as the underdog. And I've always fucked with Emmett minus the Calvin Kattar fight. And Yair Rodriguez, you kind of give my boy Brian Ortega dirty. I'm not gonna say you made him look like a bitch, but you didn't give credit to where it was due, and somebody who definitely got hurt in the middle of the fight. So fuck you and fuck what you mean. Give my boy Josh Emmett his fucking chance right here.
I'm taking Yair Rodriguez. I think he's an animal. I think he's a monster, and I want to see him against Arnold Allen for real, for real. But
It's a great fight. Arnold against Max is a great fight. Like, we haven't really talked that fight, but like that fight alone is like, yo, like, y'all do y'all thing, UFC.
But in some random news, that's not even the other news we gotta talk. Motherfucking congratulations, LeBron James. He's just now passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time leading scorer. Fuck y'all hating ass niggas.
Fuck y'all old motherfuckers, bro. Like this thing, y'all be thinking, oh well, Bill Lambier would be a fucking plumber nowadays. Bill Lambier would not like. How fast are you? I run a 5'2". Okay, how high you jump? 22 inches. Wait.
Is he serious?
Yeah, like, what the? How many points you putting up? About 9. That like I had to talk with my dad. I was like, you can hate on LeBron. You might think MJ's the GOAT. You might think Magic's the GOAT. You might think Kareem's the GOAT. You might think all the people the GOAT. But to sit here and look me in the face and act as if LeBron wouldn't be a top 3 player all time in any generation. He's 6'9", 6'8", 250. Like you're fooling yourself. And like he hates LeBron, but he was like, I don't think MJ is the GOAT. I think Magic is the GOAT, but Magic didn't get to play his full career. And I was like, I can see an argument where Magic is the GOAT. And then we was talking more, but I was just like, this is all facts because like he agreed with me. He was just like, yeah, like everyone that played back in the day, like yes, there was a few great ones, but there wasn't a team where every team had a great player. He's like I told him like Bill Lambier was the first person I brought up. Like Bill Lambier would not play nowadays. Steve Kerr would not even touch the floor. Steve Kerr is an afterthought. Like you know how many college kids come out being able to hit a 3, but be able to run the 40 a lot faster than Steve Kerr.
Facts.
Like he is an afterthought. Like there's no way any of these great players are ever touching the floor. So like shout out LeBron, shout out the GOAT, and the same thing we brought up with Tom Brady's the same thing I brought up with LeBron. It's just like longevity on plus the fact that you're at the top of the game in that longevity. Because LeBron is arguably top 2 or 3 all time, but every year that he's ever been in the league.
Man, shout out my dog, man. I fuck with that, man. He got me 2 championships, kid. Hey, I know what a championship feel like because of that boy. You feel me? I fuck with my boy. He's done his thing. Yeah, come on, man. I fuck with that man, dog. And the biggest thing about it is he really just was an upstanding citizen. He looked great the whole way doing it. He's lost his cool, but it wasn't on no crazy shit. He never really felt like he disrespected anybody. And he just didn't care about the haters. He did what he wanted to do. He's lived his life, and he's an upstanding guy. And on top of that, he's a leading scorer in the GOAT, you dirty bitches. Now, on back to the MMA. So, lastly, before we motherfucking go, it was 12 o'clock, man. My bedtime was at motherfucking 11:59, but you know, niggas be up watching anime and smoking and shit.
Emmett versus Yair.
But you got the biggest news we've heard in a minute. Motherfucking the tough season this year, and I'm gonna make sure Paul watch this year because it's going on ESPN.
Is it finale?
we got Michael Chandler versus the notorious Conor McGregor, his return, man. And this is gonna be a banger of a season. Because if you saw Conor versus Uriah Faber as a coaches, they didn't even fight. But Conor got in Uriah Faber's head so bad that he kind of was like the tipping, I feel like the last straw in the TJ Dillashaw situation. Because after that, it was never nothing cool after that, I swear.
So my only issue with this is there has been a reporter for the UFC / like people that's been keeping up with Conor in particular, and he said like Conor has yet to even put in his USADA sample. So even if Conor is the like that's why I asked it, is it finalized? Because like even if Conor is the coach of this year, he has to go 6 months on USADA before he fights.
They're not the season's not gonna be done till August.
But so that's my thing. Like he has yet to do a sample. So he has to put a sample in relatively quickly.
Like, yes, because that makes sense. Because think about it, because the season doesn't end until August 15th, and it's only February 8th, February 9th, February whatever when you guys are watching this. But
he has no, because like it'd be Jennifer, it'd be March, April, May, June, July, August. Literally, he had to have a sample in like today, like for the 6 months to.
He got a couple of days. He got like what 9? He got 7 days.
That man got a week, and
he got a week.
Yeah, that man has more. He's just dropped his Irish, the proper 12 Apple brand. So I don't know how much that's really on his plate to things to do, and I could see him definitely just being a coach. You know what I mean? Like he's just gonna be a coach. He's not gonna fight this within the 6 months. Maybe after the season, that might be a storyline where he's dropping his sample during the season, but that's one of the things that a lot of MMA UFC fans kind of agree on is the season that he was on as a coach. It was fun when we saw him versus not Corey Sandhagen, but for him versus Corey Garbrandt, versus him versus Uriah Faber with the whole snake in the grass Corey Garbrandt situation going on and TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah,
but
it was a season. That's crazy.
But when he was as a coach with the MMA, the whole world shit, and him and RB Lobovov and all that shit, it was kind of a mid-season because he wasn't legitimate. He was like, "Oh, all y'all are gonna have to fight for yourselves. I'm not here to coach everybody." And literally half the time he was in his phone doing a whole bunch of other Conor McGregor, like, you know, you have shit to do. Like now you're on top of the game. Like you have shit to do. You have to be on your phone. You have to be answering meetings. So like that was one of the worst seasons in MMA. A lot of people agree on is like when he was the captain of a season and he was already not fan, but like a big deal because that season was like international. It was like his people from the international Europe scene, Irish, Germany, France, English, all those people versus USA homegrown talent. And as he was the coach, he was just like, "Oh, like you're all on your own. Like, oh, I might like when you fight, like I can't be in the ring with you," type shit. And so like I'm just saying from a lot of other people, like Conor is a great person, all that, but like how great of a season are you really expecting if someone the same shit where it's not really the best coaching?
So I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This was a gift to me. I think this is gonna be a lit ass season. I watched last season and I was like, they could do better. I mean, it was cool. I didn't think Muhammad Usman was actually gonna win, but he won. But that season was like the toughest fun. Like I think that's what they're bringing it back. Like it's supposed to get gritty, it's supposed to get edgy, it's supposed to get dirty. Like next year they're probably gonna have motherfucking Islam and the boys doing their thing. Like they're gonna have some dice. Like it's gonna be fun, and it's on ESPN, the big screen, not ESPN2, not ESPN Deportes, not ESPN Classic, ESPN. Like I bet you Dana had to deliver that one. Like they said, yo, I'll let you get the ESPN slot, but don't bring me no Tony Ferguson. I don't want Conor McGregor. and I want Michael Chandler, motherfuckers. And they did that. And we've talked about Michael Chandler's resume. He really has only fucked up by top boss ass niggas. Like, this is gonna be a fun fight to watch. And Dustin 48 now is talking about some, hey man, I like Conor McGregor. And this man, shut your ass up. We ain't giving no picks yet. But he did do that.
All right. Well, you heard our thoughts on it. Like I said, I do think it'll be lit, but my whole thing is like one of the worst seasons on like known to man was the fact that McGregor wasn't really, he was half-assing being a coach. And if you're not gonna fight at the end of the season, you cannot half-ass being a coach. So that's my whole thing with Conor McGregor. You're probably not gonna fight on the season because you had not been in USADA test pool. So if you're not gonna be in the USADA test pool and fight, do not half-ass being a coach, because the whole point you're being there at this point is to be a coach. But we made our picks. I got Josh Emmett as the underdog, plus 140. Kev got Yair Rodriguez, minus 165. Featherweight interim title. And then when we get into the picks of the main event, I've been telling y'all a long time ago I'm on the Islam train. I'm happy y'all rode with me because Islam is now the champion. Islam's minus 410 in this fight here. Volkanovski, he don't have any belts up for grabs. He's fighting for the belt at not lightweight, but lightweight. He's plus 320. Kev's rocking with Alexander the Great.
He has the crown. He has the crown on the line. My boy got the crown right now. See, they don't be putting it up.
25-1 versus 23-1. These are some great ass records up to grab. If Volkanovski gets his dub, he is arguably up there with the greats as pound for pound greatest of all time. And like Islam is no slouch. Like Islam made light word of everyone in his way so far. So stay tuned for the UFC 284 Makhachev versus Volkanovski, Josh Emmett versus Yair Rodriguez. As always, this has been Totally Blitz Podcast. This is the Fight Club. I'm Paul. Pick 'em, win 'em. Concha. I was joined by Kev, Water Boy Savoy, Street fight enthusiast. And if y'all didn't know, well, now y'all know, motherfuckers.
Measurements, plug here, let them in, passing out the medicines. We've been on that rock star regimen, knowing that I'm heaven sent, higher than I ever been. I got a problem with being problematic. Get the light beam on me, ready for electrostatic. Don't you step into this box if you're not batting. Then my gang got tools, you could call them boy crap, man. This gang got rules, man. You better watch your passes, this ain't not new. And then see some accent, all I say is true. You better stop your capping, lacking really.